1.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSSports.com.
We are back on the Coaches Show, brought to you by Ideas Tees. They'll be happy to help you fulfill all of your imprinted apparel, embroidery, and advertising specialty needs. They're in a brand new location right across from Middle Tennessee Christian School, ideastees.com. Online, we head to the north end of the county now. It's time to talk some Stewarts Creek football. Ben Caudill here with us. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Brian. How are you?
Good. It's good to see you. There are a lot of places to start with you, I guess, in terms of talking about this year, but expectations have to be sky high after the most successful season in Stewarts Creek history last year. So those things build off each other, don't they?
Yeah, I think that's what you want. It was a really special year last year, and I think what made it special was the kids we had in our locker room. The job that our coaches did. Last year in 13 games, we really only had two bad quarters. The third quarter against Blackman, and the second quarter against Ravenwood in the third down and in the third quarter in the third round. And last year's group was a group that loved to practice. They loved to practice when you challenged them. They didn't get their feelings hurt. They responded. They wanted to be tough. They wanted to show that they were tough, and that's some of the things we've been trying to, replicate for this year is a desire to get better, a desire to get coached, a desire to, respond when you are coached and understand where it's coming from and the process that you have to go through every day to get better, so that group, it's really only made the job this year a little bit tougher.
Yeah.
But it sure does say a lot about how far we've come as a program. Coming off our first region championship in school history, that's certainly something we're all excited about. We're going to have to roll our sleeves up and try and do it again.
This has been a very interesting, we'll call it off season, just, after the football season. A lot of things with high school athletics have changed. I mean, it's been a roller coaster just trying to keep up with all of the changes from, new region to, transfer rules and, NIL, all this stuff that we thought maybe would just stay in the upper echelon, but it's here, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And, I guess starting with, the new region, really for us, I feel like it's exactly what we went through, in 21 and 22. We were moved to the Rutherford County region.
Yeah.
Smyrna and Laverne stayed with Metro. And our non-region games in 21 and 22 were with Smyrna and Laverne. And so, really, all the conversation about us all being together, that was us in 21 and 22. We played, everybody that was a 6A school in Rutherford County those 2 years. And, so it's going to be a great challenge. We're not going to leave the county this year. We had to find 3 non-region games. We found 2 of them before the playoffs started, and I found our 10th game with Knoxville Webb in the middle of January. I really went through the first few weeks of January thinking that we weren't going to be able to play 10 games, and finally found a game with Knoxville Webb. They're going to come to us this year.
Another problem with having the best season in school history too, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
It's a great problem to have, but we're glad we got 10 games. We looked at all our receivables last year and looked at our worst home gate, and then we looked at something like we do for a fundraiser in the spring, and we made the decision we were going to have, long ago, we were going to have 6 home games this year, and that's something that I'm excited about, the opportunity to be at home, and even other things in the off season that we're really excited, not just for our program but our school, is our band got to go perform at the presidential inauguration.
Yeah.
How many coaches get to play under the lights every Friday with a band that has performed in DC under the president and has to raise all that money to go literally in a span of weeks. And so that speaks to just the overall excellence and leadership of our school and within everything that happens on a Friday night.
facilities, any facility changes this year and all that kind of thing? I know you're always constantly trying to improve things.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, I've heard a few of the other guys this morning kind of bring this stuff up. The biggest thing that I try to do is every offseason is what can we do to alleviate stress from our coaches? And, that can be measured big and small. We reorganized our equipment room, spent some money to make that much more efficient. We, got a new ice machine, which is over $5,000, and that's going to be, huge for our program with how much ice we use on a weekly basis. We moved, our shed about 60 yards across the practice field, which is going to save a whole lot of time. And we also bought a new trailer for away games, which when you buy that new, I think it appraises right now more than the vehicle that I drive.
Wow, that's crazy.
So, but that's going to be something that's going to be a big game changer for our program. Right now we're looking at artwork for that, and that's something that, I know our coaches and all the guys that help us organize things are really excited about. Long term, we're trying to get a field house done. Obviously, that's not going to be cheap, and I spent so much time this offseason just trying to move the ball down the field with that. That's a huge need for our program. That's something that's always in the back of my mind. And any coach you talk to, something they think about every day of the year. It doesn't matter if you're in season or out of season, is finances. And, over here, we got to raise and we got to spend what we can raise. And, that's, something I'm glad we've been able to, improve upon every single year.
Well, and we're talking to Ben Caudill, the head coach of the Stewarts Creek Redhawks this morning. Let's talk a little bit about the team you bring back. I know that there are spots that you're going to have to fill, but tell me a little bit about where you think your team is here as we go into week 1 next Friday.
Yeah, well, I think, it always starts, at least what I look at it is when we're playing somebody else, is the quarterback. Does he have experience? Do they bring a quarterback back? How much has he played? And Jerry Taylor is really like my third son in many ways. I mean, he's I'm as close to him as any player that I've ever coached, and I love him like I'm my own and coach him like he's the one sitting right next to me here. And we bring back several offensive linemen: Jordan Shaw, Josiah Hall, Elijah Roberts. Mekhi Williams is a guy that played on both sides last year. He's going to get some time at guard. We bring back, some experience on defense as well. Amari Bledsoe, Dallas Johnson, Daniel Johnson, who was an all-region player last year at outside linebacker. Got 2 seniors coming back at inside linebacker, Gabriel Gomar and Jonathan Hadley. We bring our kicker back and our snapper back, which is always in the special team something that can decide a game. We really felt like in the 2 games we lost last year, the difference wasn't offensive or defensive scheme, it was special teams. So anytime you can bring back a snapper and a holder and a kicker, I think that's a big deal.
Centennial, first team up for you here, and let's see, just trying to scoot on down the schedule a little bit. You play the next week on a Thursday, going to Stratford, and I guess your first region game is with Siegel. So, that's another thing that happens when you have a larger region. You start playing those a lot quicker too.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. I don't think we played our first region game last year until the 5th week.
Yeah,
we're excited. We got 2 games really in the next 12 days, so it's going to be a busy time, an exciting time. Centennial's got a new head coach, former Tennessee running back from the 90s, Jay Graham. I still remember him running down the sideline in a big game against Alabama, and so it's going to be an honor to meet him. He coached with Jimbo Fisher at Florida State and Texas A&M, I know he's going to have his guys ready for his first game, as head coach, and it's going to be a great challenge for us, playing against a team that, has advanced in the playoffs the last 2 years. These kids that are rising seniors, they know how to win, and luckily we get to have them at home. Huge home field advantage at Stewarts Creek has always been the case, and we're going to have to figure out a great plan this week because they've got a lot of great athletes, and I know everybody that's a part of our Friday night experience is going to be really excited to get things started off.
I would assume the team, coaches, you all are ready to get past this, practice phase and get into a normal routine, weekly routine.
Yeah, I think any kid later in the summer, they wouldn't say it. I think they're ready for school to start.
Yeah.
And coaches too. We're ready to be in more of a routine, and this is, kind of the things we want to check off on a Monday and so to speak. But it's an exciting time at Stewarts Creek. All the rezoning. There's so much building going on in Stewarts Creek, and I've sat with kids in my office, just with tears in their eyes. Whatever I can do to stay at Stewarts Creek. That happens so often, and in a growing district and county, it might be a common thing every few years, but I can assure you, it changes the course of kids' lives, when that happens, and the extent to which, any student and family goes to keep their kids at Stewarts Creek. I mean, that's a segment in and of itself, and it speaks to, the leadership. We've had one principal in 13 years, and the job he's done is truly remarkable. Dr. Clark Harrell.
He doesn't look like he's slowing up any either.
Hey, I'll tell you, when you see him on a Friday night, he's as energetic as he's ever been, at least in the 7 years that I've been there, and having his support, every day of the year, not just on Friday nights, means a lot to me. And, I want him to be proud of our program and experience on a Friday night. And just really excited and honored, here to be, sitting with you here for the 6th year in a row. It means a lot to me.
Well, we'll have plenty of conversations down the road. Good luck on Friday night, home game. Get out and support the Red Hawks, and we'll see you back here. Appointment listening for Red Hawk fans around 10:15 every Saturday morning.
Yes, sir, Brian. And last thing, congrats to you on becoming a grandfather here
thanks.
Recently.
Yeah,
you've never looked better, and your son over here hasn't either, and that's a tremendously joyful time of life, and I'm really excited for you.
Well, appreciate that, and enjoy those while you have them that age, because they grow up a
yes,
little
sir.
bit.
Yes, sir.
Ben Caudill joining us this morning on the Coaches Show, brought to you by Dan France Concrete, a licensed and insured residential and commercial concrete construction contractor serving Middle Tennessee. That's Dan France Concrete.